Good afternoon, everyone. Today I wanted to take a little bit of time and tell the story of how I got my first closing as a realtor. Now, if you watch my short introduction video, you know that I alluded to how that happened somewhat in that video, but today I'm going to just dive a little bit deeper into this whole story and how it really is going to be one that's special, not just because it was my first, but it was just something really, really special that kind of set the tone and my understanding of really what it takes to be in the real estate industry as a realtor, especially a new one. So there's a little bit of advice for all my new real estate agents and realtors out there, a little bit of takeaway from this video. So I hope you stick till the end, but anyway, I'll just go ahead and get started. The way my first closing happened, not my first clients, but my first closing, because I had other clients under contract on new builds, but just given the nature of new builds, the time frame for those to be completed and closed is a bit further out. So I had definitely not my first clients, but my first closing. And the way it happened is me and my wife went to go pick up our youngest daughter from school, and her teacher comes out with her and says, "Hey, I need to speak to you guys. Can you guys wait a little bit for me, please?" And I said, "Absolutely." And again, I wasn't expecting it to be real estate related at all. And if any parents are watching, you understand. My first thought, and I didn't tell my daughter this, and neither did my wife, but my first thought was like, "Oh, great. What did you do that your teacher needs to talk to us?" So we waited for the teacher. She came back, apologized for making us wait. And I said, "No, no worries." And she said, "I hope you don't mind, but your daughter overheard me and the teacher's assistant talking about how I needed to buy a house. And your daughter, came up to us and said, 'My daddy can help. My daddy can help. My daddy sells houses. He's a realtor. And are you a realtor?' And I said, 'Yeah, absolutely.' And she's like, 'Can you help me buy a house?' And I said, 'Yeah, I'd be more than happy to.' So we talked a little bit. She was very upfront. She said, 'I'm not going to be easy to qualify. I don't know if I can qualify, but so and so.' And I said, 'Absolutely.' So I committed right then and there to helping her out. And I said, 'Look, I can't guarantee a timeline or a time frame, but it's a process, and I'm more than happy to work with you and try to get you there. And we will get you there. I just don't know the timeline. But if you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with you.' So we exchanged information. I committed to helping her, and we set up a time later so that we can go ahead and sit down. I could do a buyer's consultation. And so that went ahead and happened. I set up the buyer's consultation for a Thursday evening after her school and after late in the evening. That way her whole family and all the her husband, etc., all the decision makers could be in the same room, and we can go ahead and just discuss. And yeah, from my preliminary questions, etc., just for pre-approval of a mortgage, I could tell it wasn't going to be easy, but just something told me that it wasn't impossible, and we could get this done. So I went ahead and let them know, like, hey, we're going to start the process. The way it works is I'll introduce you to a lender, and then we can go from there and get a baseline and see what we need to do to just make this a reality. That was that. Thank them for their time. And again, this was kind of special because, again, it's my daughter's teacher. So it's not just like a normal client that I come across, get introduced, connected to, and then we'll go ahead and start the process. This is a little more, personal, just given the fact that, again, this is my daughter's teacher. So that's what we left it at Thursday evening. Friday, almost at noon or around noon, I get a text message with a list of 3 homes from a very good builder rep that I have an excellent relationship with. And this was a list of homes that came back to market. What I mean by coming back to market or becoming available again is these are new construction homes that were previously under contract with another buyer, but for whatever reason they backed out or they can no longer go through the purchase for a multitude of reasons. They're available. And back then, during this time, they were getting snatched up like crazy. They wouldn't last for minutes sometimes, to be quite honest, and they didn't last more than a couple hours at this given point. And something told me, and I wish I could give you the reason why, I don't know why, one particular home stuck out, and something told me just go for it. I can't explain it. It's just something my gut just said go for it. I shared the floor plan to my clients. I said, "Hey, this home just came back to the market. Would you be interested in going to see it?" Now you got to keep in mind, I didn't have them pre-qualified. I didn't know if they would qualify. But they agreed. I reached out to the builder rep. We set it up, and this is one of the biggest things that I can, give as advice to new realtors. You got to establish relationships, and any industry that I've been in, relationships are key to being successful in any aspect of business that you're engaged in. Due to the fact that I reached out to this builder and I said, hey, I think they have a chance, but I was very upfront with him. I said, they're not pre-qualified and I don't know for sure if they will, but I think they have a chance. And this is where relationships come in. He trusted me enough to know that it was worth his time to seriously sit down with my clients and myself and try to get this done. He agreed. We set up a time to show the home. Needless to say, my clients absolutely loved the home. They wanted to move forward, and that's where the pressure started, because again, you got to remember, I showed them a house that I didn't know if they could qualify for, which again isn't always the right thing, but again, there's advice in this that sometimes you just got to go for it. We sat down and sure enough, they were not easy by any means, but not impossible, and I got to give it up to the team. With this particular builder and their lender, their preferred lender, they made this dream a reality for my clients. And long story short, they ended up qualifying and we closed them within 3 weeks, because this particular home that came back was pretty much done. I mean, literally less than 2 weeks from being completely finished. So we were able to go conventional. They had the down payment. Weren't easy to qualify by any means, but they made it happen and it just worked out. And that's the biggest takeaway. And if you continue to watch to the end, my biggest advice to new real estate agents or realtors trying to get traction, sometimes you just have to go for it. Trust your gut, and it doesn't always have to be perfect. You're not going to have the perfect clients, or it's not always going to line up. You got to take a chance sometimes. And the reason being is because they were not only, I made this dream a reality for them, helped them, obtain a home, which is what they were dreaming of, and made it a reality. They were so happy and grateful. And again, I can't say this enough. Sometimes you just have to try. Just simply given to the fact that from these particular clients, I got 2 referrals that also went through to closing. And again, if you understand the nature of the industry, that's how it works. Your past clients and your immediate circle, sphere of influence, is going to lead to many of your deals, if not most. And again, if I hadn't taken a chance on these clients and I hadn't committed to helping them, no matter the timeline, it just goes back to that saying, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll eventually get what you want. And that's the biggest set of advice, or the biggest takeaway you can take from this video to all my realtors out there, is just sometimes you just have to take a chance. It doesn't always have to be perfect, but you just never know where your actions will have that ripple effect and where that ripple effect is going to stop. But again, thank you for watching. If you stuck towards the end, like, comment, and subscribe. But as always, life is good. Always make it count.